The book of Genesis is more than just the beginning of the Bible. It holds mysteries, symbolism, and teachings that have fascinated theologians and scholars for centuries. Today, we'll dive into chapters 1 through 11 and unveil 10 fascinating insights that will transform how you view these stories. Top 1. Two different accounts of creation. The book of Genesis presents two distinct accounts of creation, each with a unique purpose and perspective that complement one another to provide a broader view of divine work. In the first chapter, God is portrayed as a majestic and transcendent creator, organizing the cosmos in a harmonious sequence of 7 days, culminating in the Sabbath rest. In contrast, the second chapter offers a more personal and detailed narrative, emphasizing God's direct interaction with humanity as he molds man from the dust and breathes life into him. This account highlights God's closeness, his care in planting the Garden of Eden, and his special relationship with man and woman. Together, these accounts not only reveal God's creative power, but also his intention to establish an intimate bond with humanity and all creation. Top 2. The meaning of Adam and Eve. The names Adam and Eve carry deeply symbolic meanings in the biblical narrative, reflecting their identities and roles in God's divine plan. Adam, which can be translated as man or earth, emphasizes his origin and connection to the soil, reinforcing the idea that he was formed from dust and tasked with caring for creation. Eve, on the other hand, means life or mother of all living, underlining her role as the source of human continuity. These names are not merely literal descriptions, but metaphors encapsulating the essence of humanity, the interdependence of man and woman, responsibility for the earth, and the perpetuation of life. The choice of these names enriches the narrative, linking it to universal and timeless themes. Top 3. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, mentioned in Genesis 2 and 3, is a central symbol in the story of the fall. It represents human freedom to choose between obedience to God and following their own path, underscoring free will as an essential aspect of creation. By forbidding the fruit of this tree, God not only tests Adam and Eve's obedience, but also establishes the boundary between creator and creation. Eating the fruit symbolizes the pursuit of moral autonomy, an attempt to define good and evil apart from God. The consequence of this choice was spiritual separation from God, represented by their expulsion from Eden. The tree serves as a reminder that true freedom lies in living harmoniously with God's design, not in attempting to usurp his role as the ultimate moral authority. Top 4. Cain and Abel, a hidden message. The story of Cain and Abel in Genesis 4 is much more than the account of the first murder. It reveals the conflict between two spiritual paths. Cain, the firstborn, represents human pride and attachment to material things, while Abel, the younger brother, symbolizes faith and dependence on God. Abel's sacrifice was accepted because it came from a sincere heart, whereas Cain's offering was rejected for reflecting a selfish attitude. The text suggests that God examines not only the act, but also the intention behind it. Cain's question, "Am I my brother's keeper?" echoes as a call to mutual responsibility. This story reminds us that unchecked envy and anger can destroy relationships and our connection with God. Top 5. The sons of God and the daughters of men. In Genesis 6, the reference to the sons of God who married the daughters of men is one of the Bible's most enigmatic passages. Some interpret the sons of God as fallen angels who united with human women, producing the Nephilim, described as giants or mighty men of old. Others view the sons of God as the godly lineage of Seth and the daughters of men as descendants of Cain. Regardless of interpretation, this union symbolizes the blending of the sacred and profane, which led to increased sin and corruption on earth. culminating in the flood. This passage highlights the seriousness with which God addresses disobedience and spiritual purity, as well as his desire to maintain the distinction between the holy and the corrupted. Top 6. Noah's Ark. More than a boat. Noah's Ark, described in Genesis 6-9, is far more than a boat. It symbolizes salvation and God's covenant with humanity. Its detailed dimensions, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, not only indicate its functional capacity, but also reveal a design intended to withstand the waters of the flood, representing divine judgment. Built of cypress wood and coated with pitch, the ark reflects God's provision of a safe haven. Furthermore, it foreshadows Christ's redemptive work, as those who entered the ark were saved from destruction, just as those who seek refuge in divine grace receive salvation. The ark transcends its literal role to become a powerful theological symbol of protection, renewal, and hope. Top 7. The Covenant of the Rainbow. After the flood, in Genesis 9, God establishes a covenant with Noah and all creation, promising never to destroy the earth again with such a devastating flood. The rainbow, placed as a sign of this covenant, holds deep meaning. In Hebrew, the word for bow is the same used for a weapon of war. By placing it in the sky, God symbolically lays down his weapon, signaling peace between himself and humanity. Additionally, the rainbow is a natural phenomenon visible to all, emphasizing the universal nature of this promise. This covenant, independent of human action, serves as a constant reminder of God's mercy and his commitment to preserving creation despite human failures. Top 8. The Tower of Babel and the Origin of Languages. The story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11 is a powerful reflection on human pride and the attempt to achieve independence from God. The builders sought to construct a tower reaching the heavens, not only as a demonstration of skill, but also as a symbol of self-sufficiency. God intervenes by confusing their language and scattering humanity, a corrective action to prevent human pride from leading to ruin. Interestingly, Babel, meaning confusion in Hebrew, also alludes to Babylon, a symbol of human power opposed to God throughout the Bible. The dispersion of languages was not the end of human unity, but the beginning of cultural diversity, which in God's plan would later be redeemed at Pentecost when the Holy Spirit united nations through the language of faith. Top 9. Symbolic numbers. The numbers in Genesis 1 to 11 carry symbolism beyond their literal meanings. The number 7, for instance, signifies perfection and completeness, representing the full cycle of creation and the sanctity of the seventh day, the Sabbath. Similarly, the number 40, referenced during the 40 days and nights of the flood, is a recurring biblical symbol associated with periods of testing, purification, and renewal. These symbolic numbers reinforce the theological narrative of Genesis, where every detail reflects divine order and spiritual purpose. They are not merely numerical details, but literary devices conveying profound messages about God's relationship with the world and humanity. Top 10. Genealogy and God's Plan. The genealogies in Genesis 1 to 11, often seen as monotonous lists of names, carry profound theological significance. They trace the lineage from Adam to Noah and later to Abraham, illustrating the continuity of God's redemptive plan. Each name links generations, showing that even amid sin and corruption, God preserves a faithful lineage. Remarkably, Noah's genealogy can be interpreted as a prophetic message. Adam means man, Seth means appointed, and Noah means rest, forming the idea that God would bring rest to humanity. This progression culminates with Abraham, marking the beginning of the chosen people's story and demonstrating that every generation plays a role in God's plan of salvation. Genesis 1 to 11 is a treasure trove of meanings and mysteries. Every detail, from creation to the dispersion at Babel, reveals God's love and sovereignty. Which of these insights did you find most fascinating? Share your thoughts in the comments, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you in the next video, and may God bless your journey.